Manchester United won, Newcastle nil. Manchester United did a big 3 points on Boxing Day. Was at Old Trafford, got the job done, did what we needed to do. It wasn't the prettiest. I think the first half was pretty good. It was pretty good. The goal by Patrick Drogu was absolutely phenomenal of a goal. Absolutely amazing. I bet I did not have him on my scorecard to do such a thing, and him playing on the right-hand side as a winger was actually really refreshing, and, brilliant goal, put us ahead. We did what we needed to do in the first half. Second half, we fell off in terms of attacking output. For me, we sat back too much. We weren't doing enough. We weren't winning the ball. Listen, we could say we're a bit fortunate that, they didn't score on us, but at the same time, we did do our job defensively. And, that's how you're going to get clean sheets. We got a clean sheet. It's our second clean sheet of the season. And, obviously I don't want to see these things happen every game, but listen, he needed the 3 points. We needed the 3 points, and we got the job done. I don't really care too much about how we really did it, as long as it's not too much of a consistent theme. And we just had to go out there and do a job that we did today. We'll break it down further. I hope everybody is doing well. I hope everybody had a very good Christmas. If you celebrated Christmas, hope everybody is good. And please make sure you smash the like button. It's important to the channel, so make sure you hit that like button, support the channel, get the likes up. We get more reds to see it. We get more people part of the community, so make sure you're doing that. Let me get to the chat first, because the chat's very active, and then I'll come back with my thoughts and opinions on the game. So, first off, I need to shout out my guy Scotty Huffman 7009 for becoming part of the RDE VIP section. Shout out to my guy. I do know him. He did it before the game even kicked off. He subscribed. So shout out to my guy. Appreciate that. Didn't have to do it, but he did anyway. So yeah. I don't know. I need a place to jump in. There's too many messages here. I just jump in wherever I want. Ray is here, says, take the win. I don't agree with a few things, but 3 points better than 1 point. Well, I don't think anybody is always going to probably agree with everything that the guy does. But, again, for me, listen, I think I think Ruben did or tried to do whatever he needed to do to try and get the 3 points. Today, he gets to say that his calls were right because he gets the 3 points, I guess. I mean, at the end of the day, that's sort of how that goes. And, I don't like how the team, I don't know, it was a weird one. That second half was really weird. We lost Mason Mount. I don't think he's going to be gone for a while. I think it was maybe something minor, and obviously they've been precautionary. They've been a bit, just especially with him. They don't take no chances. So I think they took the precautionary route, but him coming out of that match, I think, we lost a lot of momentum. And we don't really have players like him. We're down in terms of that. Bruno is missing. Bruno is gone. Mainu's not available, and then Mount's not there as well. And it's like, well, those are the 3 guys that sort of can do that specific type of job and playing in a certain way. And we lost them. And the young Fletcher came on, and it was good to see him come on. And he came on at halftime, and I thought he did well for a youngster that is just making his second appearance for the first team. I think he did well. But, when you're talking about, you got the experience of somebody like Mason Mount, the game is a little bit more developed. It's not the same, is it? So, it's nothing against the kid, but it's just different levels, isn't it? And I think that massively, made a difference. So, Ray says, I love Heaven. Well, Heaven was phenomenal. He was absolutely phenomenal. Listen, he was rock solid today. He didn't put a foot wrong. And, just think back to a couple think back a couple weeks ago. I mean, look how rusty, look how off of it he was, and look where look how he's doing now. So, I never doubted him in that capability. I mean, again, if you don't play, you're always going to be rusty. So, you got to try and give them a couple games, 2 games, 3 games, give them a little run. See if they could sort themselves out. He sorted himself out, and he's really stepping up to the plate. And this is what it is, though, to be part of a team. I mean, Lenny is struggling. Yeah, like Lenny is struggling. Lenny has lost confidence. You can tell in the way he's playing the game. He's not playing it the same as before. He's certainly lost confidence. Him and Delo, were getting destroyed on the right-hand side. I don't know what was going on between them, but I put a little bit more onus on Delo on that because you're the senior player. If you want to go a step further, you're part of the leadership group, and you got a guy behind you that's a younger, right? That, listen, it's clear as day. Everybody can see it with the two own eyes. The kid is struggling. All right, he's a little bit low on confidence. He's a little bit unsure of himself. He's making mistakes, and for me, Delo, you can't be matching his energy. You can't be matching his level. You're there to, give him a little bit of help, support him, give him a little bit of guidance, and they were both misstepping all over the place, doing things that, I don't know what was going on. There was a couple of times Delo's sitting there, the ball goes right past him, and he's just standing there watching the ball, and he's not reacting. He's not moving. He just stands there. So I don't know what's going on there, but Scotty Huffman says, hell yeah, what's up, my guy? What's up, man? Appreciate it. Lucky says, we had tackle second half. We want ball control. Got second. We had defense. Ray says, come on, Reds, we got a Christmas present today. Listen, we take it. We take it and we move. Sometimes you got to do that. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. So, Ryan says, win is a win, but this manager is too negative. He is too negative, not the right man for the job. Well, I don't know. I don't know if he's too negative. I think there's only a certain couple things that you can do. I'll play devil's advocate. I know it was defensive changes, but we were struggling to win the ball back. We were a bit under siege. We don't have many options on the bench. And I think it's one thing if you have sort of a full bench with a bunch of full players and you're making defensive changes and you're going super negative. It's another thing if you got some younger kids, but sure, could you put a Lacey on? Sure, but I could play devil advocate all night with this. If he made different changes and he made attacking changes, what happens if we conceded the goal and we don't win 3 points today? Everybody would be pissed. Everybody would be mad. So, listen, I feel like he took a call based off of what he was seeing, whether you like it or not, whether you think it's too defensive or not. And today, I think he gets to say that he got away with it in terms of that he made the call and he got the 3 points, so he gets to say he was right. That's how I see it today. I don't really see that big of a deal with it, but Johnny says, forward to back, we get a clean sheet and defend as a unit way better. Well, I mean, he only played it for a half, Johnny. But anyway, if this manager dares to switch back to his back 3 next game, I'm going to put him in an armbar. He literally switched back to a back 3 in the middle of the game. So, and again, these changes are coming about because we don't have the players in the squad. We're missing 7 players from the team. 6 of them are starters, and I think it's always quite obvious that these changes were going to come. So I don't expect him to throw his whole entire plan out the window. He's being adaptable, like many people have asked him to. It's what he's doing. He's thought that now is the time to change things, considering the personnel. And he's gone for it, but he did switch back to a back 3 or a back 5, whatever you want to call it. It really doesn't matter to me, but he switched back to it in the middle of the game. So I don't think we're never going to see it again. I don't think it means that he's just going to do totally something different till the end of time. He had, press conference quotes before the match that came out last night. It was the embargo part. And he said, to play a perfect 3-4-3 is going to take a lot of money and time. And we don't really have that. So I think he's understanding what's happening at Manchester United. I don't really like that because that's the manager yet conforming to this club and to honestly to the Glazers, because this is what the Glazers have done. But I don't think he's going to throw it all out, and I will bet you any money that once we get all our players back, it will go back probably definitely 100% to the 3-back, 100%, and that will probably be the normalcy. He already tweaked it a little bit anyway, playing that, so it would be interesting what Amorim does when De Ligt returns, because Heaven has been good recently, and if he continues, then he shouldn't be dropped. Yep. It will be interesting. Listen, I think there's a number of things, Johnny, that he could probably do. I mean, if you're playing the fullback, I don't know, but it's difficult. But you got to say that somebody's got, I think you have to say De Ligt has to get in there somehow. So, but maybe he has to fight for his spot on the way back. I don't know. It is a good point. It is quite hard. I mean, because Martinez played phenomenal today as well. He was excellent. That's the butcher, that we needed, that we've been missing. And he was really strong. He was really aggressive. We were missing that. I felt the back was really safe with him there. I never felt like some stupid goal of a mistake was going to come with him back there. He's confident. He leads the back line. He was the captain today. And for obvious reasons, we've always said that we think he has leadership capabilities. So, I just think that, it is a tricky one, but listen, you're a manager, you got to figure something out. You got to make the call. You got to make the decision, and whatever you choose to do, like in a personal reason, you could believe it's right or wrong, but it all depends on how it goes to the results. So, I mean, I think it would be very tough and harsh to sort of just drop Aiden Heaven like that out of the team, considering how he's performing. And I wouldn't really expect it, but I don't know what's going to happen. So we'll see. We'll see. I think it depends what kind of formation we're playing as well on the day. If we are doing a 4-back, obviously there's one less spot. If we're doing a 3-back or a 5-back, well, obviously there's an extra slot. So, it would be good to have Kobe back, because if you take Ugarte out and put Kobe in, we will have way more control. 100%. 100%. I mean, listen, Manuel Ugarte is very good at defensive work, but he is not a guy that is, I mean, if you look at the qualities that Kobe has, composure, being able to pass the ball, just more of an outlet for the midfield spot. Definitely having Kobe in that spot is going to make a world of difference than Ugarte. Ugarte does very well defensively. That is his number one quality, and that's what he's really good at. But, the other parts, it's not so much. At times, he doesn't have the best passing range. And he doesn't have the best, in terms of taking the ball and carrying it forward and starting an attack or starting a play or something like that. So, and I feel like we were missing a little bit of that. I think Ugarte did well today. I'm not trying to knock him, so I'm not trying to take anything away from the game that he put in today. But I just think, it gives you something different, and it gives the team a different aspect. It gives it sort of a different feel. It gives it a different look. So, because I don't really prefer to have two defensive players in there anyway. I don't prefer to have Casemiro and Ugarte next to each other. I want sort of a one-on-one. So my preference would be, obviously Kobe. So, but hopefully Kobe is back, by next match. I think we're playing Tuesday. So it's sort of another quick turnaround. Hopefully he makes it back, and so he could get some opportunities himself and some more minutes, considering that Bruno is not there. So, makes a big difference. No Mbeumo, no Mazawari, Amad Diallo. Yeah, I think so, and he made that very clear. So I'm not surprised at all. Anybody sort of, I would just give a warning to anybody that thinks that, if you've been banging on about the system and the formation and you think that he's made a 100% change and that he's never going to go back, I would just give you the warning that you're probably fooling yourself. So I don't really believe that. I think he's being adaptable, like people have asked him to, or people have said that he's not adaptable. I think he's being adaptable right now. I think he's using the situation, the lack of players. He's doing what he feels like he needs to do. But I don't believe for a second that he's just going to abandon his way of playing 100%. So I think it will come back into play at some point. And it even came back into play literally in the middle of the match because we started with a 4-back. I think we did all right in it. There was a lot more space, but we did well when we had to do defensive work. And the second half, he went straight back to his formation. So again, I think that's also another clear indication that, you know, he's not 100% getting rid of it, and he's not just going to play a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-4-2 or whatever it is, a 4-4-1-1 always and forever, and never again is he going to play the 3-back. So, Grace says, hope you all had a good Christmas. Happy with the win. Let's go. Well, I had a very good Christmas, Grace. I hope you had a good Christmas as well. I hope you're doing well, Grace. And I hope you you had a nice Christmas with your family and everything. So thank you for that. Appreciate it. Drogu was good today. Drogu was very good today, and Drogu, I think he very much enjoyed playing winger. And you know, listen, Ruben said in his press conference, and you know, I said it before Ruben, but you know, today was sort of a day for anybody to step up. You know, we're down players, we're down some leaders, we're down our captain. We're a little bit scraping at the bottom of the barrel, you know, and you know, this is the time when these other guys that are in the squad, like, you know, it's time to step up. Like, you need to show something. You need to show that you deserve to be here, that you belong here, and that, you know, one guy isn't carrying your entire career at this football club. And, you know, for Drogu, I think it was phenomenal that he did what he did because, listen, he's been having a torrid time playing where he's been playing. He does look like a nervous wreck. Today, he looked amazingly comfortable. He looked confident. And I think he enjoyed that position. So, you know, and he scored a beautiful, wonderful goal. You know, it was an amazing goal. And I'm really happy for him. I'm really happy that he chose that, you know, I'm going to step up today. And, you know, good for him. And maybe that should be his new position. But, you know, it's kind of been asking for another Ahmad, but we need an Ahmad on the left side, not the right side. And he kind of did what he kind of filled in for Ahmad pretty much. I mean, he's a left-footed player that ended up playing on the right side. And he's playing right winger, essentially, or right midfielder. And he did excellent there. So it's funny. It's quite funny. Richard says, what was Xerxes doing on the pitch? It was like playing with 10 men. Well, that is one of the things I'm a bit disappointed in Xerxes. You know, when he was putting him on, I was watching the match with my father. That's why I'm a little bit late, because it's Boxing Day. I was going to do a watch along, but I said, you know what? Let me go watch the match with my father. So I had to go to his house. That's why I came here late. But when we were watching the match, I said to him, you know what? I said, maybe it's a good idea he puts on Drogu, because, I mean, puts on Xerxes, because, listen, the second half, we lost all control, and it was kind of pointless to have Sesko there. We weren't playing. In my opinion, we don't give the balls that we need to give to Sesko, and he should have scored that goal. And that was his only actual opportunity of the match. So, you know, again, one real opportunity for the striker is not enough for me. But, you know, I said, you know, we need somebody to get a hold of the ball, because we're not holding the ball. You know, they're pinning us back in. We're not winning the ball. We're not getting control of the ball. We're kicking it up. Nobody's up there. Nobody's being able to hold onto the ball. So I was like, listen, let's get Xerxes in, because Xerxes could be good with his body. He could get the ball, use his body. He's a big guy. Hold the ball up, get a little bit of possession, calm it down for us a little bit. But he didn't do any of that, did he? You know, he was quite disappointing in my opinion. Like, you know, not strong enough. Just not aggressive enough. There was a couple players out there that were like that today, especially, in the later half of the second half, later stages of the second half. Not aggressive enough, not aggressive enough at all. I was quite worried because I felt like we were being a bit too soft. We weren't winning the ball back. We weren't going into tackles as hard as I want them to go into tackles too. As I think they need to do that. It's not just I want to see them do that because I enjoy it. I want to see them do it because I think it needs to happen, because I think it's important. And I felt like a bunch of the times there was a bunch of us that were like, just giving them too much space, not being on top of them enough, not being aggressive enough, not using their body enough. But he was one of them. He was a bit of a disappointment to me. So, maybe we should try Drogu further forward on the right. Well, we'll see. One match he did do well there, and obviously I don't think it was the same when he went in the back and went back to the left. So, I don't know. I still think he had a good game regardless, but he definitely, even when he went back to the left, it might have not been to the same, as he did in the first half when he was on the right, but the formation was different. The game changed. We were much more pushed back. So I don't think you could totally judge it in that. But trying to compare when he went back there to how he's played in the past, I think he was way better today anyway, regardless. So what did you think of Drogu right wing? I know he played winger at Lecce sometimes. Yeah, I believe he played 8 matches, Grace. 8 times. I think he scored 3 goals from there as well. He was really good, especially in the first half. Great goal, too. Yeah, he was really good. And, I think at the very least, listen, I don't know what's going to happen. It's up to the manager. It's up to Ruben, and the decision he makes going forward. But I think it is sort of a little positive that you can take and put in your back pocket and say, well, we've seen that happen. I think it gives us another option now and maybe something to think about. And it gives you a little bit of something like just flexibility, mobility in terms of, it might not happen every game. Maybe that doesn't happen too often. Again, maybe it does. We got to see what the manager, what call the manager makes and how he sets up the team. But it can also be something that maybe, we look to do in times that we need. If we need to make a major change or something like that, maybe it's something, it's just sort of another option. It's sort of another thing that we can sort of maybe play around with. So, but again, I'm very happy for him. It was a very good game. And I just want the players to do good. I just want the players to do good. I want everybody to succeed. So as long as they put in a performance, as long as they do well, I'm happy for them. I don't really care who it is. I don't necessarily have favorites or anything like that. So, Lucky says, well done, Patrick Drogu, Cunha, Mason Mount. Listen, for me, Mason Mount, I'm really liking Mason Mount. I really am. I think Mason Mount is... I think he's improving like so much in terms of, I think he's getting back to sort of, his best level. And I think he even said it, I don't know if it was today or yesterday, but for me, Mason Mount is doing an absolute job there. And I think it was a bit of a big loss that when he had to come out. I think it was a loss. He's been doing such a great job, the pressing, the passing, tackling, the aggression, the want to like get the ball back, the need for like the fight, the effort that he's putting in. With me that goes a long way, because you could tell in his game there's like this fight about him. There's this aggressiveness. And I just criticized some of our players for not really having that in the second half. They looked a bit flat, but Mount's been having it. I think Lisandro always has it, and that's why I like Lisandro very much as well. But yeah, Lawrence says injury, bad luck again with Mason, strange. Casemiro substitutions always seems to the second half story with Ruben. Well, listen, what is the right call there? I think he saw that there was a bit of a problem in terms of we were struggling to get the ball back. There was a bit of a lack of options in terms of on the team. We didn't really have another midfielder. We didn't really have any other defender. Maybe it was a bit strange that he took out Cass when you're asking to sort of get the ball back and do something with it. I don't know. I mean, maybe he said something about it that I'm not aware of yet. Maybe he's done, he's been asked about it and why he did it. But I can't see it could be for any other reason than he just thought that was the best decision to do. Because Cass was surprised. And Cass didn't think that he should be coming off. So, only the manager can answer for that. I don't know. I don't know what it was about it. Put your father on the microphone. My father's not here. So, we live in separate houses. We're not playing well again with the traditional 9. Bruno Cassidy Mason absence means we lose control back 5 again. Well, again, I think he just had to take the call that he did for the match. I think he saw it, and I think you look at it, and he said, well, I don't really have too many options, and I think he went with his trusted formation. I think maybe he was a bit nervous with continuing with sort of the new formation that he did. Because if you did look in the first half, listen, I think we played well in it, and it worked to certain degrees, but there was a lot of space. We were leaving ourselves open quite a lot, and we are down on a lot of players. So I just think that he did what he thought was best, and I guess from his side, he gets to say, well, he was right because he got the 3 points and they didn't score a goal on us. So, at least very much for today. You know what I mean? Lumen is here as well. Says, big up. What's up, Lumen? How you doing, buddy? Richard says the BBC are reporting that we are going to try and re-sign one of our ex-players in James Garner, who is out of contract at Everton in the summer. Well, I don't know. I don't know about all that. I don't know if we should be doing that, but we'll see. We'll see, Richard. I don't know. Those stories, to me, I always take them with a bit of grain of salt because it's like ex-United player, re-sign United player. It makes good. It pulls on the heartstrings of some United fans, that didn't think that maybe we should have sold him or, because he has United history ties. So we'll see. We'll see about that. And I'm not too sure about that, but I don't think the performances are improving every match. Our goal conversion is still a worry. Don't know what to do about Ben Sesko. Well, I think the problem that we have in the squad is, again, like I've been saying, I just don't think the squad is good enough. I don't think the squad is, and when I say not good enough, I mean it doesn't got enough depth in it in terms of you lose quality, and what do you got after that? You know what I mean? Like for me, you lose Mbeumo, you lose Diallo, you lose Bruno. You start digging deeper. Mount goes off. You don't have Kobe. You start going deeper and deeper, and you go, well, do you expect it? Do I expect the team to be putting 3 in the net now? No, not with what we got. I would like if they could figure it out, but I don't see how we can do it. Sesko, I know what Sesko needs, and I know what Sesko is able to do, but he ain't getting it. So Sesko needs certain balls played to him. And he's not really getting them. He had 1 or 2 chances. He had 1 chance in the box. It was a bad turn or whatever. I think he made a mistake there. I think he should have tried to not turn. I think he should have tried to probably take a touch in front of him and then shoot. He tried to take a touch, turn the other way, and then shoot. But yeah, I think there's a couple things that I would like to see. Number one, I would like to see balls more through the middle to him and him making runs through the center of the defense, and the ball's actually going to him. We're not really doing that. And then 2, I still think we need to make better crosses. You know, there was one Luke Shaw put in. It was actually pretty good, but it was good defending. And, you know, we need more of those. You know, you can't just say Luke Shaw put in one good cross to him and that's it. You know, we need like 5, 6, 7, 8 of those because eventually one will go through. And then one will go to Sesko. And then it's on him to put in the back of the net. So he hit the crossbar. He did hit the crossbar. He did. And, I've seen him score that. I'm disappointed he didn't score it because I think he needs to score those. But at the same time, I will say, listen, when that's like your first real shot, your first real opportunity, and you've seen that. Like, you know, he got the ball off of a forced error, but it was one where he had space. He was able to dribble. He did all right. He got in the box. He got in a good, decent shooting shot, position, and he shot it at the crossbar. But if you're getting one of those a match, he's not 28. He's not in his prime. He's a young guy. He's on the younger side. That just came from the Bundesliga. First season. So he's going to need more of those. He needs like a good 2 or 3 of those. So for me, I think Sesko, I just think we need to figure out I think 2 things needs to happen. One, he needs to continue to get more adjusted because I don't think he's quite adjusted yet. He's not adjusted to the Prem. There's a couple things he needs to increase agility-wise, reaction-wise, quickness, a little bit of these things. I think he'll be fine. And I think that will come in due time. So I don't have a problem with that. But then we as a team need to get adjusted to him in terms of we need to figure out how to get this guy more opportunities, you know, because I'm there and I just know I'm like, dude, if you could get him a good couple opportunities, I know the shot this guy has on him. And I know the ball will go into the back of the net, but it's just about getting these opportunities for him. So I think until Xerxes, we shouldn't panic over I think unlike Xerxes, we shouldn't panic over such. Oh, I'm not panicking. I think I'm just waiting. You know, again for me, Sesko. Maybe people don't give him this because he's the striker or whatever, or you know, whatever the reasons are. But for me, I've always held this belief, and I've always said I usually give a 1-year grace period to these players. You know, specifically somebody like him coming from there, so. I think it's probably going to take most of the season to try and sort of fit him in, get himself settled, get the team settled to him, let sort of a connection be made, some trust and stuff like that. So, you know, and then next season we got to see. You know, he's going to have to definitely step it up from there. He's definitely going to have to step it up from there. But along the way, I hope he finds some answers. Is kind of what I'm saying. Joshua Xerxes not for sale. He needs to start. Nah, I don't think so. Listen, as a striker, I don't like him as a striker. Okay, I don't like him as a striker. For me, it's number 10, or you don't have a spot in this team. I've always said that. I don't like him as a striker. I don't like his movement when he's there. I don't like what he does. You know, I literally said I think it'd be a good idea to get Xerxes in so he can hold the ball up because of the way we were playing. It was kind of pointless to have Sesko there because we weren't getting Sesko the ball anyway. But those long balls we started sending, I guarantee you Sesko would have been winning those. You know, because he does. And Xerxes, I don't think Xerxes won a single one of them. Not a single one of them. So I don't like him in that position. I don't think he does what I want to see from a striker. I think for me, it's number 10, or you don't have a spot in this team. If you don't have a spot in this team, then you know we don't need you at this football club. You're just extra. You're extra. So I don't like him there. I wouldn't be playing him as striker. I would be putting him in as a 10. I think he could do a job as a 10. I think his best performances has come from when he plays in the 10 position and not as a striker. So the problem that we have is we kind of only have one striker. So, you know, you could technically maybe put Cunha there, but I think he likes Cunha where Cunha plays because of some of the qualities that Cunha has for the pressing and stuff like that. So I think Sesko will be fine. I think he'll be fine too. It's just I just get a little bit frustrated because I want to see the kid do well, and I know what he can do, and I just want him to. I get more frustrated from a team aspect because I'm just like, I feel like there should be sort of, we don't have to force it to him, but I feel like there should be a little bit of an onus of like, let's get this kid let's get him firing, man. Let's get him some chances. We need this guy to come through for us. Like, let's look for him a little bit more. Let's try and give him some good opportunities on the pitch with the ball. Let's make a couple plays for the guy. Because I really want him to get going. Because I think if we can figure out how to unlock this part, because to me that's that one part in the offense that we haven't unlocked, and we need to unlock it. In that, if we can figure out how to get the team to play cohesively with him, and we're on the same wavelength, and they know what kind of balls they got to give him, and then he's finishing the balls. I think we'll be in an excellent position. We'll start scoring a ton of goals, and I think he could be a beast. But sometimes I just watch the match and I'm just like, give him the ball. I want to see him shoot. I want to see him shoot 4, 5, 6 times in a match. If he fucks them all up, he fucks them all up. But I could say, well, then it's on him. He's fucking them all up and he's got to do better. But when I sit here, because what I don't want is the same situation that happened with Rasmus Højlund. Like you don't get the opportunities, you don't get the chances. People start getting on your back. You start having a hard time. You lose your confidence. Listen, it's very lonely up there, man. If you're not getting any type of love, and you start getting criticized, and you ain't feeling no love from anywhere, it's a very, they say it's lonely at the top. I think it's very lonely at the top when it starts going dark, when you're not getting the balls, when you're not getting the chances, and then people start questioning you. I think it gets very dark there. So that's what I worry about. I'm not worried about the player specifically. I'm worried about this fan base. I think for now they're letting it go. I think for now, because people typically like him, they're sort of not really talking about it too much. But I know this fan base, and if things go wrong and things start going bad, I know at some point people are going to start jumping on him. And again, I don't think it has to do a lot with him. I think it has to do with the team. I wouldn't pay. Xerxes is somewhat rusty, but Sesko needs to adapt to the team. He needs more determination. Well, I think time is what Sesko needs. I think he does need to adapt to the team, but I think the team need to adapt to him. I think Manchester United as a football club need to adapt to actually, using and playing with a striker. Because, I don't know, we've played many years without an actual striker. So I think adaptation on both sides. I think, obviously he needs to adapt, but I think that's normal. I always expected he needs to come here. He needs to adapt to the Premier League. That's going to take him time, and he needs to adapt to life at Manchester United. But I also think the team needs to adapt to actually trying to utilize the striker properly. So a little bit of both. I wouldn't pay 15 for Connor Gallagher. Never mind 15 million. Why not? I don't think he's a bad guy. I don't think he's a bad player. Being a Premier League player does not make you a Manchester United player. Well, yeah. I mean, I would say that, Richard, yes, because I've said that many a times. You can't just be any player. You need you can't just be any player. This is a special place, and we can't just get anybody. And we've seen us get anybody, and we've seen how that's gone. So, listen, let me get to some of sort of the post-match quotes and stuff like that. Make sure everybody that smashed the like button, thank you, appreciate it. If you haven't smashed it, please make sure you smash it. Let me just pull up some things. Let's see if we get some answers from the manager. Maybe he was asked some questions. Here you go. You want your answer? Here it is. The first thing that popped up. He was asked about Amorim Amorim was asked about the Casemiro substitution. His response was, I don't want to take Cunha off because he's the only guy who can allow us to breathe. Jack was fresh. Manu was fresher. We took a chance. They were making a lot of corner runs, and I felt he was going to struggle. So, I mean, listen, that's what... That was his reasoning for it. I think, again, that's probably the only thing that you could say, really, is that he felt like he was probably a bit tired, and he was probably going to get outrun. We all know the only thing that Uncle Cass lacks is a bit of legs, right? So he's played a lot of games. He's played a lot more than Ugarte. This was his thought process. You could agree with it, disagree with it, but again, he's had his reasons for it, and this is what it was. And Footy Verse says, "Hey, bro, I did not see the match today. How was the match?" It was a little bit like sort of like usual. He surprised a bunch of people. He didn't surprise me, but he seemed to surprise everybody else. He played and went with the 4-back today. Even though the team sheet wasn't lined up like that, but when we started the match, when the whistle kicked off, we were lined up in a 4-back, and we played a 4, whatever it is, 4-2-3-1, 4-4-1-1, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same shit, really. So we played like that. It looked pretty good. There was some space, there was a bit more space than usual. And attacking wise, we did well. Defensive wise, I was a bit nervous, but we held our own in the first half. Patrick Drogu was playing on the right-hand side, and Drogu did amazing there. And he scored a wonder goal. One-time volley from a long throw-in. Oh, by the way, a long throw-in as well. So, I was talking to, who was it, DJ last time. He said he doesn't like the throw-ins. And I said, listen... it gives you something different. I said, it's not bad tactically, because if you could throw it in a good spot, which on that play, we threw it in a good spot, and I get the reason why you do it, because exactly what happened. The defense can only do one thing, which is head it out. And your job, if you don't get to the first head, your job is to get that second ball, which is exactly what Drogu did, and he smashed it into the net. So, we scored a goal from it, so I think it was good. But, and then, Footy, second half was pretty much like kind of like same old story. The first half was really good for us. Second half, we died down. We lost control of the game. We started getting pinned back. And we had to defend this one out. It was, second half was all Newcastle. We were struggling to sort of retain the ball, get the ball back, win the ball back, and then hold possession and actually do something with it. So it was a bit like normal. But listen, I said this couple shows ago, and I continue to say it at this moment in time. I don't really care how we actually do it. What's important is we get the 3 points, we get the win, and we stay as high and in the conversation and as high as the table as we possibly can. So you got to take the positives when they come. We weren't perfect. I don't expect us to come up into a match and be perfect and sustain that, because we're a work in progress. So we take the 3 points. We won at home. Finally, that's good that we got back to there. We kept the clean sheet. That was good as well. Like these things are all small W's to me. The 3 points is the massive W. But these other things, they're all small W's. I'll add them together and I'll take them, and we move to the next one. Now we got to go play Wolves on Tuesday. We should be getting a win. Same thing like we played Wolves the first time, and we're at home again. So It's the same thing as the first time we played the Bills. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They are the worst team. They still haven't gotten a win. We're going to be playing at Old Trafford. We should be getting a win. We got to win today. That's going to be important for us. There's some big matches coming up tomorrow and on Sunday. There's Tottenham versus Palace. There's some other games that are going to have some implications. And listen, I think little by little, we're chipping away. We're chipping away at it. We've had problems. We've had setbacks. We've lost some players. AFCON. So that's going to happen. But now we lost some players at the same time because of injury. I think we're dealing with it to the best that we can, and I think today is a very important win. It's a very important win for Ruben. It's a very important team for the club, and that's all that really counts, and that's all that really matters to me. So, I wanted to be. I wanted to get to a point where it's strong, where it's very cohesive, where it's, we don't have to really worry about what is our team going to give us today, where we're in a place where we know what we're going to get, and, we get entertained by it. But for me, little by little, I think we're working towards that. I think that stuff is going to take time, especially the situation we're in now. So, I don't really want to see us be put in the position that we were put in the second half. I don't like those things. I don't think Ruben likes those things either. I don't think anybody likes those things. So I think they'll be looking to figure out ways to, move forward from that so that one day we don't have to be doing these things, but I do think that these things will come in due time. So, Ray says, I take this win anytime. Listen, we got it, man. We got to. We got to. We got it. Right now we're fighting, and we're in a fight. Yeah, we're in a fight. And, sometimes you can ask for the world, and you can try and be greedy about it or whatever, but I don't think we're there yet. I don't think you're in a place to sort of try and be so greedy about it. Maybe greedy is not the right word. But I mean greedy in a way in that, there's a ton of work that needs to be done, and we're not near the perfect sort of picture yet. We're not the complete article. We're working towards that. So I think for me to sort of ask that, you got to dominate, and it needs to be beautiful, and then also you need to get the performances and all three. I think to ask that for these circumstances, I think is quite impossible. On a consistent basis, like every single match, always, we're not there yet. I think that's what, we're trying to build to. So in these times, we take the 3 points and we move. I'm going to have a look at the table real quick just so that we get a better picture about it. But, Ray says, we improved from last year. We're going to win against last year, win against Newcastle. I mean, yeah. I think we have improved from last season. We have. Again, if you look at the team last season, and when people say we've improved, some people take it the wrong way and try to say they start thinking that people are saying that oh, now we're so good. And it's no, that's not what we're saying. We're not saying we've improved. That's it. We've done the job and it's over, and that we're amazing and that he's doing an amazing job. We're saying that from last season to this season, you look at the team, you look at the dynamic, there has been improvements in a bunch of different areas. Are there still some areas that need more improvement or that, better jobs can be done? Of course. It's part of the process. We haven't solved everything. So we just need to continue to keep doing the work that we've been doing. And I think we'll get there. And that's why I think it takes time. If we made the progress that we made this season, from last season to this season so far, if we make that progress again from this season and you take that same progress into next season, well, when you look back 2 seasons, you're going to be it's totally different, So 29 points rebuilding, says Lucky. Bray says we have to calm down, let things fall into place, hope we get 4 or 5 out of place, and then work from that. Well, that's what I think that's what they're looking to do. Yes, anywhere between 6th and 4th is a big improvement. Absolutely. But, for me, Richard, when I say improvement, I think anybody can say, I think the easiest talk is to say, well, if you finish in 5th and we finished in 15th last season, well, like, it's clear improvement. And, like, yeah, they're not wrong. But what I'm saying is, like, if you look at the little details in the team, if you look at some of the aspects in the team, the way they're handling some of the games, the way we're passing the ball a little bit different. If you can remember last season, and I remember a lot of them, like, are we still making some mistakes that lead to some goals? Yes. Are we making some mistakes defensively? Yes. But are we passing the ball better? I think so. Are we having a bit more... Do we seem a bit more confident, a bit in the attacking intent? I think we're creating more chances. There's areas around the team that have certainly improved, especially when you're comparing ourselves to last time. So, thanks a lot for the stream, Eric. Enjoy the winter holiday, everyone. Yeah, you too, Axe. Be good. And stay safe. We might go live tomorrow at 8 p.m. If you guys are around, I'll probably be going live tomorrow as well. So, 8 p.m. UK if you are around. So, thanks for stopping by, Axe. We'll see you later, buddy. Be good. Bray says, remember today missing 7 players. Yeah, 6 of them are 5 of them are starters, and 2 of them are, subs. So, but let me just sort of finish this, and then, we'll kind of get out of here. So, a couple of things. Amorim said, we played 2 games in 1. We played well in the first half, then we all suffered together in the second. With all the issues we have in the squad, everyone was suffering, even the players on the bench. 3 important points. Tomorrow, no one will remember how. I mean, to a certain point, I mean, he is a bit right on that. Like, we might not necessarily be happy about how the second half, sort of went, but these 3 points, are important. They can make and break. And, in like 3 or 4 games from now, or, maybe like 2 months from now, I don't think anybody's going to really remember and be like, oh, that second half against Newcastle, blah, 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 blah. I don't think anybody's going to remember that. I think everybody's going to remember, be like, yeah, we got 3 points against Newcastle, So, one thing we have to improve, get the second goal and the third goal. Well, yeah, I think it's a bit difficult to do with sort of the lack of... I mean, listen, we spent a lot of money on the attack. I think Cunha has to figure out how to do a better job, because he's the guy that is a bit more experienced. And it hasn't really been working for him. But I just feel like I just feel like we lost a bit of the chem up there as well. Like, I like Mason Mount, and I think he's doing a really good job. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I just feel like when you have Diallo and you have Mbeumo in the team, and then you have Cunha in there, and then you have sort of Sesko there, I don't know. I just feel like the team feels different. I feel like when we have those players there, I just feel like you can put 3 in the net. And when we don't have Diallo and Mbeumo, I just feel like I don't know if we're gonna be able to do it, And we're missing Bruno as well. Like, he's he's a guy that he has a lot of goals and assists. So, I don't know. We do need to figure out how to consistently do it, and I think that's part of the conversion rate that we once talked about, because we do create. We have been, on average, creating a lot of chances this season. I think we're like top of the league for chances created. We're ahead of everybody. The conversion rate is where we're suffering a bit, but I think in due time, hopefully it clicks. Hopefully it clicks. Because I think that's what we're missing. I think we're just missing sort of that final piece. We just needed that last bit to click, and I think we'll be firing away after that. I don't like to use Fergie for everything, but I do remember a couple times, like when maybe he gets like a new attack or something like that, or he's trying to do a bit of a rebuild in his own team, and it would take some time. Like it might not look that good, and then all of a sudden, he'd figure out how to get them to click or something, and then it was sort of unstoppable at times. Scoring 3, 4, 5 goals at a time. I think this setup we have, it's a bit different in terms of there's different things that we need to happen to get it to click. Again, like, we just talked about Sesko, a little bit of time, a little bit of adaptability. We also need our 2 players back from AFCON. We need our captain back, and we need Cunha to step up a little bit, more in that aspect as well. I mean, he just scored recently, but he had a couple opportunities in this game. The shots were off target. They weren't like that. They weren't that good. He needs to be putting them more on target and stuff like that. So, well, at least we've seen the game out, which we haven't been good at doing. Yeah. So, listen, I didn't really expect this match to go like this, actually. All the stats, all the trends, this wasn't the case. I was expecting multiple goals. I was expecting both teams to score. I was expecting there to be at least three goals in the game. We didn't get that. So, I know I've been saying you can't, we couldn't go into a match and say we expect to get a clean sheet till we do it. So we've done it, and now I think perfect opportunity is like Tuesday we're playing Wolves. Get a second one. Now we got 2 in a row, and then we got to see where we go from there, and you got to try and keep it rolling. And then maybe all of a sudden now we're going on a run where we've gone in a few matches, and now we got 3 or 4 clean sheets in a row, and now it's looking a bit different. So now is the time, because we went out there and we did it. So now you got to look to do it again. Tuesday we're playing Wolves, and then the following Sunday, I believe, Richard, you're going to that game, are you not? On the 4th, on Sunday, versus Leeds, and Leeds at home. That's a derby for us, and then we got to play Burnley in the middle of that week, and then we got to play the Manchester derby, and hopefully Bruno's back for that. So, okay, these guys fucked it. I thought I was going dyslexic here. Because I'm looking at Twitter right now, and they said that Aiden Heaven put on Instagram, and then I read the quote, and I was like, wait, what? Because the quote was, incredible feeling to score my first goal at Old Trafford. God is good and Merry Christmas. And it's a picture of Drogu. So they wrote Aiden Heaven. They wrote the post wrong. The aggregator wrote the post wrong. It's not Aiden Heaven. It's Drogu. So they've had a bit of a brain meltdown there. Amorim spoke on the unity of the squad. He said, we've been through tough times, which can sometimes be beneficial for the group, but it's good to have that feeling with the experienced players who help the youngsters. And we need that. We need these guys to do that for them. So, definitely. Ruben also said they believed in victory despite the absences, and that's very important. And I think that's part of it as well, today. The one thing that I can say is, listen, I don't like how we sort of seceded the whole second half, but I will say that the players did seem determined to see the game through, and to get the win. And, at times I felt like it was a bit soft, but definitely in that box, inside of that box, they were determined to defend that ball. And I think they did like, a 93% good job on it. I don't think I don't think you could get 100, and I'll give 7% because I think there was once or twice that, you know, we didn't clear the ball, or the ball found their way to a Newcastle player or something, and it was a bit dangerous, and maybe something could have happened from there, but it didn't. So, Drogu was asked about the goal. He said, "I didn't think about it. I just kicked the ball and it went in." Well, yeah, that's called instincts, and that's sort of what Ruben wanted for a while. Actually, I mean, if you remember Ruben talking about in the early stages last season, he says the players, they need to not think so much. Like, remember when he first came in and he tried to implement the system, and the players, they take too long. They take too long on the ball. They take 3-4 touches. They sit there with the ball in their feet thinking about, where do I pass it? Who am I giving it to? Where is it going? Or what do I do with it? And he said, like, I need them not to think. They need to be instinctive. And I think that's a prime example there. Like, he didn't think about it. It was just instinctive. He just did it. I think if he actually had to try and process and think about it without acting, I don't think you scored that. I don't think, because I think you hesitate and I think you miss the opportunity. So yeah, instinctive. And I think the players are becoming a little bit more instinctive in terms of understanding their teammates with the passing. We have moments in the game where we do very good one-touch passing. We know where our teammates are. I don't remember a lot of that last season. So I expect that to continue to increase and improve as we continue to play with each other, because that is the improvement that we have made. And it's not perfect, but we've definitely gotten better at it. And if we've gotten better at it, we can definitely get more better at it and get to a higher level. So, well, I hope we continue our run until the 4th of January. Lucky says, I will only feel comfortable when Matej's the lid return, please God. Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, it is kind of a bit of another short turnaround. I don't know, what they necessarily have, but, Delit, Harry, Maguire, we know what Bruno has, but, Richard says, I will be sitting in the Leeds home end on the 4th of January. If United score, I may not come back alive. Well, listen, if United score and you're not going to come back alive, at least, make it worth it and give it to them, Richard, Give it to them the best you can, make it go out with a bang. Hurt their feelings, really, as much as you can, really stick it to them. Make it worth it, at least, at the very much. Aid in Heaven, if you want some stats, game by numbers by Mr. Statman Dave, of course, the biggest statman there is. Aid in Heaven, 100% ground duels won, 100% aerial duels won. I wish he puts the total amount, but he doesn't. 94% pass accuracy. He had 48 total touches, 8 clearances, 3 passes into the final third, 0 fouls committed, 0 goals conceded. And then he said United have a very special player on their hands. And I think we do. And, I would just like to take the time to say thank you, Arsenal, for the bargain of Aid in Heaven. I don't really understand how you could let a player like this go for, what did we sign him for? 2 million? If I was an Arsenal fan and this happened, I'd be fucking livid. I would be absolutely livid, because quite clearly he obviously had talent and potential and ability. And they massively fucked up, on this. But, thank you very much, Arsenal. We greatly appreciate it. And we'll take good care of him. Don't worry. He's going to be really good for us. Ruben also said clean sheet, back four. Kobe Manu injured. I think we don't need to hold a press conference. All topics have been covered. We can enjoy Boxing Day. It's funny. But he has a sense of humor. He does. He does. Update on Mason Mount's fitness from Ruben Amorim. He said he felt something at halftime. He wanted to go in the second half, but we cannot lose more players, and that's what I figured it was. And I can't fault them for this. As much as I think we did suffer because Mason came off, and it's a bit unfortunate. Again, this is why I don't have too much of a worry. I don't have a worry about sort of these other players. I don't have a worry about forcing Bruno back like somebody told me the last show. I don't. I mean, I think that they've been really good with the injuries. I think they've been really good at looking after the players. I think that's an improvement that nobody talks about, Listen, you're always going to get injuries. Every team gets injuries. You're always going to have injuries in the season. But I think if you look back, 2 seasons, 3 seasons, 4 seasons, 5 seasons, you look what was going on with the injuries, and you look at what's going on now with the players, and you look at how I feel like we're looking better. We're looking after them way better. And I think we're being smart about it. I think with the way Mason's playing, the confidence that he's getting, the level that he's been up to. I mean, you think back, I was thinking about it today when I was watching. Think back to sort of last season or even the season before. Remember all the arguments that everybody was like, oh, I don't think Mason can be a good player. We wasted money on him. It was a waste of money. Chelsea ripped us off and this and that. But nobody can say that now. I think he's playing phenomenal, and it's because he's more available. And you need to be available. You need to be available to be able to have a shot. I said the same thing about Luke Shaw. I never had a thing against Luke Shaw, other than that he was just never really available. And you can't really have that in your team. But Luke's been available this whole season. He's actually, if you like irony, Luke Shaw is the only player this season to play all the matches. He is the only player that has started all the matches. You're talking about a guy that has never, since we bought him, has never completed a full season for Manchester United because he has gotten an injury somewhere, and he misses at least a month, 2-3 months. And now he is the only guy that has started all the games and has been available for all the games. So I think it's a massive difference, the way they're looking after the players. And, I that's what I figured. I figured that he must have felt something, and they're not going to risk him. They're not going to risk him. They shouldn't risk him. I think not risking him has been keeping him available this season. And we'll see. We'll see, because it is a bit of a short turnaround. We'll see if he'll be able to start Tuesday. I wouldn't be surprised if Mason Mount is on the bench on Tuesday and comes on as a substitute. I don't think he'll be out. I don't know if he'll be able to start because I don't know exactly what's gone on with him. But I do think strong possibility, at the very least, being precautionary with him. He'll be on the bench, and then he'll come on as a sub maybe 30 minutes to go into that Wolves game. So, Lucky says, Mateus, come back, please. Yep, I mean, all our players come back, please. I want all our players back. So Kobe, please come back. Everybody come back. Maguire, come back. We need Bruno back. We need everybody back. So, Arsenal had to sell. Why? Because they already got players selling. Aiden, Heaven, Cheeto, Obi. No, I mean, they didn't have to sell. He chose to go because he wasn't gonna renew the contract. His contract was down, and he he was pushing, you know, for he wanted a bigger role. He wanted to be called up to the team. He wanted to be involved, and they weren't really going about that. So they wanted to give him a new contract, but he wasn't happy with sort of the pathway. And we came to him and we were able to convince him and say, listen, there's a better pathway for you here. We're going to give you one. And he chose to come to us, and we paid like $2 million for him. So, we should be doing signings like that when we can as well. It's a smart piece of business. It's brilliant, brilliant, because listen, if the way he's playing, we have a very good player in our hands. If it doesn't work out, well, it's automatic profit, right? It's sometime down the line, if it ends up not working out for whatever reason, even at that point when you make that signing, if it doesn't work out, there's no way you lose money. You're making a profit guaranteed. So, either way for us, it's a win-win. If it works out, we have a very good player in our hand that we signed for next to nothing. And we took him from one of our rivals as well. So, Ruben says, Jack Fletcher did a really good job. He's humble, hardworking, and deserves it. Yeah, he's a bit like his father, isn't he? I mean, I think those are the words that I would describe, Darren Fletcher as. I think he was always humble, and he was definitely hardworking, Darren Fletcher. And, he was there in the match. And he saw one of his sons come on. His other son didn't come on, but I'm sure he's happy for both of them, and he's proud, and good for him. Good for him, and good for his kids as well. So I think these guys have, at least in the foreseeable future, I think they have a future right now, and these are the opportunities. So again, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think for them and for me, I don't really care. Because I know this is how football goes, and I don't think they care. Like, they don't care how it's come about. They just, I think they're happy to be able to get the chance. And the only thing that matters is you're getting the chance now. Whether you were going to get it or not, it's there. So you got to take it. You got to take it. I don't rate Euro. Well, I think Euro is a good player, but I think Euro right now is struggling. I think Euro is struggling. I've seen Euro put in very good performances for us. He has potential. He has ability. He's a young guy. We got to work through with these guys, and he's gonna have to sort himself out. So, but I think Ruben's doing the right thing in that Lisandro is back. He was able to play almost 90 minutes. He subbed him off in the 87th, and I think right now with the way Euro's playing, Euro shouldn't be starting. So, and I just think that's the right thing to do. Ray says he's flashy. I don't know about that. I wouldn't really necessarily call him flashy. I don't think he's flashy. What I do think that he's not doing, but I want to see him do more, where I think he's lost a step is he's lost confidence. He's lost confidence. He's second guessing himself, and he needs to be a bit more physical. He needs to be a bit more aggressive. He needs to be tighter on the guy with the ball. He needs to be more in their face. He needs to be more strong in those cases. If you go back to the earlier part of the season, you could see that when he didn't lose his confidence, he was pretty good in terms of he was putting in some strong displays. He was putting in some solid displays, holding his own, heading the ball out, just kind of doing what Aiden Heaven did today in terms of that he was just sort of always there. He was just always sort of in the right position and just always getting to the ball. Euro's not doing that right now. So I think these things happen. He's 20-year-old. He's 20. And I think he's 20 or Heaven's 20. I think he's 19. So I expect him to bounce back at some point, and I think it's part of his process that he needs to go through. I think he has the talent there in terms of ability, and it's on him. So Lisandro Martinez will start again. Why? Because he has experience now. Play with Euro. Well, no, I think Lisandro has to start again. I think Lisandro is one of our best center backs. We've missed him for quite a long time. He has experience, and again, I just think you look at the performance Licha put in. That you look at what Euro did when he came on, and you can't really compare. Licha was phenomenal. Licha was excellent. He was. Him and Heaven were excellent. And Lenny is struggling. So, I back the kid to get out of it. I think it's part of the process. I think this is why, it's hard to lean on these young guys a lot. Because, he was leaning on Euro a lot. Like, Euro was starting a lot. Euro was the main starter. He was one of the only young guys to start. And I think this is natural for them. Like, this happens. They're going to go out of form. They're going to struggle. They're still trying to figure themselves out as a player, but as a person as well. So, I think this is why it's a bit hard to rely so much on these kids, because this is what's going to happen. What's happening to Euro is the fear that I have if you lean too much on a bunch of these kids. Because I don't expect him to be able to play every match, giving us 8 out of 10s. I expect him maybe have a decently good run of form, but you're going to dip out. And you probably dip out quicker than some of the experienced players, because you just haven't been through it. You haven't been through sort of the process. You haven't been through sort of the trials and tribulations. So, but yeah, I think, listen, if he's not doing good, then he's got to take his turn on the bench, and he's got to take his turn as a substitute, just like how, Kobe's kind of taking his turn right now. And these are young guys. They have full careers ahead of them, and things will change and opportunities will come along, and then it's on them to take it and do well. So, but other than that, listen, guys, I'm going to get out of here. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for smashing the like button. Thank you for supporting the channel, getting your thoughts and opinions, and, everything else. It is a good win on Boxing Day. United got us the win. Everybody was watching us today, of course, because we're the only football match on, and it's the day after Christmas, and it's a Friday. So I'm happy that United got us the 3 points. I'm happy that we're not here talking about a United loss, and we're not talking about Ruben's future and that he needs to be sacked and this and that. And I'm glad that we could actually talk about the performances of the players and the team, and we're positive, and we're sitting in a better position and stuff like that. So most likely we'll do a stream tomorrow at 3 p.m. because there's football on. I said 3 p.m. I do that because 3 p.m. is my time. I meant 8 p.m. 8 p.m. UK, which is 3 p.m. my time. So 8 p.m. UK, we'll be back because there's football, until what time is that? Like 5:30 p.m. UK. 5. Yeah, it's at like 5:30 p.m. So we'll stream at 3 or 8. I keep doing that. We'll stream at 8 p.m. Sorry, we'll stream at 8 p.m. We'll discuss a little bit more of how we're feeling from the match from yesterday. We'll take in some of the news, and then we'll go from there going forward, because then it's only a couple days till we're playing again. So it's gonna be a short turnaround. Sunday we won't stream, and then Monday we'll be back before the match, and then we have the next match. So, yeah. So, Richard says, thanks, Eric. Thanks, everyone. Keep safe. Thank you. Be good. I hope you had a good Christmas, and we'll see each other in the next couple of days as well. We had to graft, but Dunn got 29 points. Correct, Eric. Well, yeah, I mean, just real quick before I get at it, because I did say I was gonna, hit the table real quick. So, and I forgot, but I'll do it now. In terms of, let's just see where we're standing and how we're looking. So right now, obviously, we've moved up to fifth on 29. Chelsea are on 29, and Liverpool are on 29. We've jumped over Liverpool again because of the goal difference, which I believe is what's our goal difference at now? It's at we're at a +4 goal difference. We're at a +4 goal difference. And obviously we played, before everybody else. So, I don't necessarily expect to stick into fifth, but we'll see. I mean, there are some important matches here in terms of tomorrow coming up in that, let's have a look. So Forest are playing City. Arsenal are playing Brighton. There's Liverpool versus Wolves. Well, that should be an easy win for Liverpool, so that's a bit unfortunate for us. But maybe Wolves will do a job for us. Get your first win of the season. Wolves, do it against Liverpool. But Liverpool are playing home, so I don't really expect that to go well for us in our way. But there is Chelsea Villa, and Chelsea Villa is massive. And then on Sunday there is Crystal Palace Tottenham, and those two games, those two matches are massive for us because those are sort of direct implications for where we are. So, Villa are above us in 36, but Chelsea are on the same points as us. So if Chelsea lose, that could be massive because that means that fourth spot really opens up a lot more. And even if they draw, it's still massive for us. And then obviously there's Sunderland is behind us by 2 points. Palace is behind us by 3 points. I didn't even realize that Tottenham were all the way down there. Jesus. They're on 22 and 14. Yeah, so really we need Palace to drop some points. We need Chelsea, Villa. I'll take a draw. Take 2 points away from each other. Do us a favor. Obviously, I would love Liverpool to lose, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't even think they'll draw. So I fully expect them to win. So I expect Liverpool to get on 32 points and jump up above us and push us down a spot. And then we also need Sunderland. I actually think, what do we need? We need Leeds to do a job for us. So we actually have to ask Leeds to do a job for us. And don't let Sunderland win so that we don't get pushed down more spots so we stay as close as we possibly can. So, yes, we are fifth. Yeah, we need Sunderland. Where are they anyway? Yeah, we need Leeds to do a job. Sunderland are home, but we need Leeds to do a job so that they stop Sunderland from jumping over us by 1 point. So, we'll see how it goes. Tomorrow, obviously, we'll be live at 8, and they'll be after all these matches. So the table will take a little bit of shape, and we'll discuss it a little bit more. But other than that, everybody be good. Have a good night. Thank you. Stay safe. Be well, and we'll see each other tomorrow. Come stop by, say hello, get your thoughts, opinions. We'll have a nice discussion, and also hit the like button. And shout out to anybody that's new and that's subscribed. Shout out to everybody that's been supporting since day one. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys. Have a good night, and we'll see each other tomorrow.